I never saw it coming. The person who knew every secret, every laugh, every moment of my life suddenly became someone I didn't recognize. It was like waking up one day and realizing the person standing next to you, the one you trusted more than anyone, was now a stranger. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Or please complete our 1,000 subscribers. I had known Emily since we were kids. We were inseparable, a perfect duo. We did everything together: school projects, weekend sleepovers, and the endless hours spent talking about our hopes and dreams. She was the kind of friend who could make you laugh in the darkest moments and listen when you needed to pour your heart out. We were more than best friends. We were family, but something changed. It didn't happen overnight, but over the course of months, I began to notice the distance growing between us. At first, it was subtle. Small things that I convinced myself were just part of life. She started canceling plans more often, becoming less available, less engaged in our conversations. I told myself it was nothing to worry about. Maybe she was just busy with school, or maybe she had other things on her mind. After all, we all go through phases, right? But then, one evening, things took a turn. It was a Friday, and we had made plans to catch up after not seeing each other for a couple of weeks. I was excited. I hadn't seen Emily in so long, and I missed the old us, the bond we used to share. I texted her early in the day, reminding her of our plans, and she replied quickly, sounding enthusiastic. When I arrived at the cafe, I sat at the corner booth waiting for her. I could already tell that something felt off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. As the minutes ticked by, my excitement turned to anxiety. Finally, she walked in, but she wasn't the same. Emily, the friend I had known, the one who used to light up a room with her presence, looked different. Her smile seemed forced, her eyes distant. She greeted me with a half-hearted hug, and we sat down, but the air between us felt thick with something unspoken. We began talking, but the conversation was awkward. There were long silences where neither of us knew what to say. I tried to bring up old memories, stories we used to laugh about, but Emily didn't seem interested. She would nod occasionally, but there was no warmth, no connection. It felt like I was talking to a stranger. "Is everything okay?" I finally asked, unable to hide my concern anymore. She looked at me, her eyes briefly flickering with something, guilt maybe? But then, just as quickly, it was gone. "Yeah, everything's fine," she said, her voice flat. But I knew something was wrong. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Something had changed. The Emily I knew wasn't there anymore. The next few weeks were a blur. Emily became more distant, more cold. Our texts became fewer and fewer, and when we did talk, it felt like we were strangers, just exchanging pleasantries instead of sharing our lives. I felt like I was losing her, and it hurt more than I ever expected. I tried everything to bring back the old Emily. I invited her to movies, to hang out, to do things we used to love. But every time she had an excuse. "I'm busy," she'd say. "Maybe next time." I began to feel like I was chasing someone who didn't want to be found. One evening, it all came crashing down. I saw Emily at a party. It was a small gathering, just a few friends. But when I walked in, I was struck by how different she looked. She was surrounded by a new group of friends, laughing and talking, and the Emily I knew seemed like a distant memory. She was wearing a new style, one that didn't quite fit her, as though she was trying to be someone she wasn't. And then she saw me. Her face stiffened when our eyes met. There was no warmth in her smile, no recognition, just an uncomfortable nod. The kind of nod you give a distant acquaintance. That was the moment it hit me like a ton of bricks. She had already moved on. She had already let go of our friendship. I stood there, frozen for a moment, unsure of what to do. I wanted to confront her, to ask why things had changed, but I couldn't find the words. Instead, I walked away, my heart breaking with every step. The girl who had once been my everything, my best friend, had turned into a stranger, and I realized in that painful moment that sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes friendships end not with a fight, but with silence. After that night, I gave up. I stopped reaching out, stopped trying to understand what happened. I had to let go, as hard as it was. I had to accept that some people, no matter how close you once were, can drift away, and there's nothing you can do to bring them back. Looking back, I still don't know exactly what changed. Maybe Emily grew apart from me because of things I'll never understand. Or maybe she was just growing in a different direction, while I was still holding on to the past. But what I learned from this experience is that people change, and sometimes they change in ways that are out of our control. And as painful as it is, we have to let go when the time comes. So, if you're going through something similar, know this: it's okay to grieve, but it's also okay to let go. Sometimes the hardest part is accepting that the person you once knew will never come back. And that's okay. It doesn't diminish the value of the friendship you once shared. It just means it's time to move on. Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful or it resonated with you, please like and subscribe. It helps me keep sharing more stories like this with you.